So raise your hand if you were born in a country that's other than the United States of America, please. Okay, good. I'm not alone. In August of 1990, I came from Israel to America. Now, I never planned nor dreamed to be an American, but I married an American. And in August of 1990, I left Tel Aviv and followed him to Davis, California, where he wanted to do his PhD. And that was the month that Iraq invaded Kuwait and threatened to attack Israel. So I came from a place where everyone was walking around with little black boxes of gas masks in case Saddam Hussein attacks us with mustard gas. And my friends were making a lot of cynical jokes to hide their growing panic as they were practicing getting their babies into these strange plastic contraptions they were issued by the government, and everybody was wondering, can this flimsy thing actually protect my baby from lethal gas? So I left the hectic pace of Tel Aviv with the war threats new and old. I left the relentless heat and unbearable humidity, the drivers impatient and aggressive honking at every corner, the demonstrations that continued for and against a diplomatic solution with the Palestinians. I left a brother still struggling with hallucinations and voices that began after the 1982 Lebanon War, a grandmother who had raised me but was now so old she did not recognize me, my sister recently married like me, and my aging parents anxiously following loud step-by-step TV instructions on how to prepare a safe room. I came from that to the stillness and hum of cicadas of Davis, California. To call it culture shock would not even begin to scratch the surface. You see, Davis is a small college town in the middle of California's Central Valley. It's a town where the biggest political struggle in its entire history has been to save the toads from being squashed when they cross the highway. I'm not making this up. And I thought it was a joke at first, but no, they actually built a tunnel so that the toads could make it to their ancestral wetlands on the other side. It hurt to realize I come from a place where protecting the lives of humans was not as successful as preserving the rights of toads in Davis. No gas masks, no sirens, no bombs in the marketplace, no wars. America was peaceful and safe. But I've never been more of an alien in my life. I was an alien surrounded by inexplicable phenomena. People standing in line. No one pushing into the bus or elevator. Drivers waiting patiently at the light when it's green for all the cars to pass from the other side before making a left turn. That week, August of 1990, there was only one car heard honking in all of Davis, and it was driven by Hebrew cursing me. I was an alien. I thought I knew English, but it was impossible to decipher subtext in conversations, the nuances of nonverbal communication. Suddenly, interrupting others mid-sentence to impatiently finish their thought, what I knew as a sign of participation, showing that you're interested in their concern, was looked upon as rude. Where I come from, if you listen without interrupting, it means you're bored. Now that's rude. Or speaking with determination and urgency, obvious marks of leadership and dedication at home were considered having an attitude. Well, an attitude of what? No one ever finished that sentence. but it was clearly not a compliment. Or talking with a loud voice and dramatic hand gestures, clear indication of passion and enthusiasm among Israelis, was described as too intense. Me, a deeply caring person, rude, with an attitude, too intense. I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. Nothing made sense. And to me, oh, let me tell you. Do you want to hear what I think about what I thought about Americans? Nobody wants to hear what I thought about. Oh. To me, Americans seemed the most cold-hearted people on this planet. I mean, Americans write thank you notes instead of picking up the phone and talking. Who ever heard of such a thing? Where I come from, if you write instead of talking in person, that means you don't care enough. And I thought Americans were such incredible hypocrites. I mean, they say please and thank you all the time. They smile to strangers. You know, Israelis, we're honest. A smile means you like someone. Smiling to strangers, that's like pretending. And I thought Americans were not spontaneous and definitely uptight and not generous. They never just show up at the door uninvited. And of course, you can't show up at their door without calling first. And if they happen to stop by after dropping the kids from a play date and you invite them in to eat, they look horror-stricken. It's like you can only eat dinner if it's an official dinner invitation? Who ever heard of such a thing? I come from a place where it's unheard of to enter the house of another without instantly being offered food, whether it's dinner time or not. And I thought Americans were so superficial. A week after we arrived, my husband took me to an event at the university, and there he is, talking, smiling with so many people. I thought, wow, he has lots of friends. But when we come home and I say, so who are all these people you talk to? I don't know. Well, what was the name of that guy you were talking with? I don't know. What were you talking about? I don't know, just chit-chat. Chit-chat? Networking? Let's do lunch sometime, but no one ever says when or where. I was an alien. And for many, many years, I stayed close only to Israelis or other foreigners. It took me many years to begin to understand the culture I had moved into. It took even longer to learn how to communicate who I was to the Americans without scaring them away. It took time to begin to identify that everything that felt normal to me was the way I grew up. Responses to the world that came from years of ancestral trauma and living in anxiety. It took time to recognize my own assumptions and stop judging, comparing, and labeling them. And I learned that Americans write because calling may interfere with your day and they don't want to intrude. You see, privacy is a big thing in America, which is also why they don't push into the bus or the elevator. Giving you physical, personal space is a way of honoring your privacy. And that's why they don't just show up at the door uninvited unless, I discovered, you happen to come from the South. And that's a whole other culture. Who knew? And I learned that Americans say please and thank you because being polite is a cultural value. And smiling puts the other at ease. It says welcome, which is important, you see, because at the heart of this culture There is that giant green woman up near New York City, holding a torch up high, welcoming the strange, regardless of where you come from, your religion, the color of your skin, welcoming the stranger, welcoming me, welcoming everyone. Thank you.